Hello, hello, hello. I'm here for my UFC fight night coming from Fight Island this Saturday. I believe it's 5 p.m. Cali time here. And the last event, even though the names weren't there, the style matchups, I told you it would be a good event and it totally delivered. This time, it's a great style matchup and the names are there. This could be a pay-per-view event, especially if there was a belt, it would definitely be a pay-per-view event. So I'm actually really, really excited for this card. So I'm going to go ahead and do my picks for the main card here, which seems to have 7 fights. Don't mind it. Yeah, 7 fights. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. Is there 7 fights on the main card? Either way, I'm gonna go ahead and do 7 picks. So first up on the opener here, I'm choosing Alex Cowboy Oliveira to beat Peter Sabata. I'm choosing Paul Craig to beat Gazhimrad Antigulov. I'm so sorry. I'm choosing Carla Esparza to beat Marina Rodriguez. Now the next one I'm going to break down a little bit. Now Fabricio Verdum, heavyweight, is going to be taking on, I believe it's the debut in the heavyweight division, at least in the UFC, of Alexander Gustafsson. And Alexander's been off for about a year. He actually retired. I think he just needs some time off to get his head back together. He's had a year off, so how's that weight gain? When did he decide to actually go to the heavyweight division? Because how you gain that weight matters. If you just gain it quickly, it's mostly fat. It's weight that's going to drag you down. It's going to make you slower. It's not going to help. But if he actually made this decision shortly after he decided to retire and he gained it slowly, worked it in there slowly, he could be an effective heavyweight. I don't know how that went. I had to do a little bit more research, but as far as the skill set is concerned, Alexander Gustafsson, of course, he has all of those amateur boxing titles, pro European boxing titles. He has great takedown defense. He's got some submissions there as well. We're seeing with Verdum, he, of course, the black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the world titles there, and the judo. He's got some nice stand-up, too, with his Muay Thai, tries to add in some kicks and shake things up. For me, he didn't look too good in his last fight, but we'll see how he is now. How is that weight gain now? You know, I'm really going back and forth on this one. I might even change my picks when it comes to the weigh-in, so I can actually see how they both look together, the vision test. I think that Alexander, of course, is an inch taller and about a 2-inch reach advantage. I actually knew that he was nice and long, so I wasn't surprised by that. Fabricio is going to be thicker, though. If he had a wrestling base, it would be easy for me to give it to him because I think he would be stronger than Alexander, but with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu base, that reach straight isn't quite there. Now, it doesn't mean that Alexander should play with him on the ground. He definitely should not. I think that's where Fabricio, of course, will have the advantage. I think that's where he needs to do. I need to get inside of that reach advantage because even though it's an inch, Alexander does fight long and he fights long well. Add some kicks in there, try to take away, make him hesitate, get inside that guard, take away some of that cumulative damage because Alexander's not a power puncher, but you don't want to get him to get on the roll. So you want to threaten a takedown, you want to get into the dirty box, you want to press him against the cage, and eventually I think you want to get him down to the ground where I do think you have your best chance to win. As far as Alexander, you need to keep it standing, keep it in space, fight long, add some kicks, take away that lead leg, make him hesitant to try to get close to you, cumulative damage, high offensive output. I think you'll have a better cardio than he will. Again, it depends on how you gained that weight. So I'm going to take a chance on you, Alexander. I want you to be refreshed. I want you back. Actually, I like you as a fighter. You've got real pretty boxing, pretty traditional boxing that is needed in the UFC and the MMA world. So I'm going to go ahead and pick you. But again, once I see those weigh-ins and how y'all look together, it depends on how you gained your weight, depends on how Fabricio looks, if he looks sloppy, if he looks too thin, da-da-da-da-da-da. So this is subject to change. Be paying attention for my other platforms for me to change that pick. But for now, Alexander Gustafsson. Now, co-main event, and we are seeing in the light heavyweight division, we are seeing Lil Nog, Antonio Rogero Nogueira, take on Mauricio Shogun Hua, Battle of the Vets. 2 names here, big fan bases there in Brazil, so again, names on this card. They both had some time off, so they both probably needed that time off with all those fight years they both have on them. Just blank there for a minute, forgive me. Little Nog is 44 years old. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, and Fabricio is 42. That's one thing I want to say too. Fabricio is 42 and Gustafsson is actually 33. So we'll see. That's quite a big difference there. We'll see how that works too. That was in the previous fight. But now on back to the co-main event there. So there is an age difference, although Mauricio Shogun, who has been through some wars. He is definitely older in fight years. He's changed up his camp. He's changed up his, not his camp, he's changed up his training partners. He's doing some new things technique-wise, and he seems to have a second birth. And with Lil Nog, every time I count him off, he seems to prove me wrong. If this stays standing, I think it definitely favors Lil Nog. He has a boxing base, but it's also a third-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that he never has to use. Hello. They're actually the same height, same length. I think that Lil Nog is going to be a bit thicker, especially on the upper body. And again, if he stays on standing, it favors him. Hopefully he's been working at some kicks, trying to keep Mauricio off of him, because I think Mauricio is definitely going to try to take him down, where I think he'll think he has the advantage, but I'm not too sure there either, because I think that Lil Nog might be physically stronger. So I'm actually going with Lil Nog in this one, although again, come the weigh-ins, I'm definitely going to be looking to see how they look. I'm going to do a little bit more research as far as interviews, as far as how they've been training through COVID. That's on all the fighters. So that could sway my opinion here, because I am kind of going back and forth. But for right now, I am going with Lil Nog. That was a mouthful. I feel like I'm yapping a mile a minute here. Now onto the main event with 7 picks. I was like, you got to go fast, go fast. Main event, and I'm actually really excited for this fight. We are seeing the Darren Till take on the former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whitaker. Now again, they are basically the same size and height. Darren Till has about a 1-inch reach advantage, but as far as the way they fight, I don't think that's going to come into play. They actually both have kickboxing bases, where Robert Whitaker, I would say, has worked in a bit more wrestling, but they both actually have a lot of takedown defense, because neither one of them like going to the ground. So I'm not sure this is going to go to the ground. I think we're going to have a stand-up battle here, and this could be potentially fight of the night. So without any distinctive physical advantage like length, who's better at this gig? Again, they both have kickboxing bases. Now, Darren Till. I would say that Darren Till probably uses his kicks more. Definitely he has a nice kick that he uses as a jab. I think you're going to need to do that. Use that kick as a jab, tear apart that league leg, try to slow down Robert Whitaker, who's actually very aggressive. You want to get him hesitant, so use your kicks, which I do believe you probably have better kicks. In fact, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say you do have better kicks, probably quicker kicks. I think that Robert Whitaker has more power in his hands and probably has quicker hands, but I'm not too sure there. Not too sure. The quickness might be equal. So as far as Darren Till, use those kicks, use your kick as a jab as well as your actual jab, and fight behind that. You do have a 1-inch reach advantage. Try to fight long if you can, although that's not normally your style, but try to do that. You have to be smart here. This is one of the smartest opponents you've ever faced. You're going to have to do something new. Have you been working on something new? I hope you've been working on something new. I think you're going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat here. High offensive output. You need to be first. Control the center of the octagon. Keep him on going backwards. All of those fundamentals you need to do, and you need to do them better. You need to do them first. As far as Robert Whitaker, like I said, I do believe you have the power advantage as far as your punches, as far as the kicks. I think they're going to be the same. I think you use your knees better. I think you also use your elbows better. So if it gets in the close quarters, I think you will have the advantage there. So that's what I would say for Robert Whitaker. If you're finding that he is better at the long game, which he might be, you need to go into close quarters, where I do think with the dirty boxing or just fighting in the pocket up against the cage, you controlling the center of the octagon, pushing him back, having him on his back foot, I think you'll do better there in close quarters, again in the pocket with the dirty boxing. Knees, elbows, a little bit more Muay Thai, more so than your kickboxing. I believe that Robert is more aggressive, so don't get too aggressive. Keep a cool head, which you normally do. There's been, I don't really think there's been any trash talk. Someone correct me if I'm wrong there. I don't think there's been any trash talk. So I think you guys already know who I'm going to pick. Robert Whitaker, of course, is coming off of a loss to Israel Adesanya, where he lost his belt, coming off of surgery and an injury. I think he should have shaken off that ring rust. I think he should be back into the feel of things, you know what I'm saying? And I like Robert Whitaker more. But not only that, I do think he has more tools. I do think he's more aggressive, and I do think I always underestimate him. Stopped doing that a few fights ago. Not going to do that here. And on the flip side, with Darren Till, as y'all know, I've said before, I haven't been a true believer. I have not been convinced yet. So I think the potential is there, but for me, seems to be a corner he needs to turn. So going with Robert Whitaker on this one. But yeah, tell me all your picks, any injury updates. Be looking for me to might renege a little bit once I see those weigh-ins. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe, like, Snapchat. Subscribe, like, talk to me, take care. Goodbye.